It's almost like funny. It's like I wish we could have like one trade a week or something where we could like be like, all right, well this time I switch my prediction. I still don't switch my prediction. I think Classic's going to do it, but you know, I think like some of the Korean commentators might also be wondering, you know, like after, considering the momentum, you know, do I really feel the same way? But let's look at Classic stats. I mean, people are saying this is one of his weaker matchups, but he's still 4-2. It's not like he's got a problem here in the matchup. He's a strong player in general.
Yep. Very, very strong individual results as well. Mentioning he got out of his round of 16 group of Codes. Definitely doing very, very well recently. Whereas Creator over here, he does have that downwards purple arrow, even though he's 2-3 in recent games. I'm not sure how much I agree with that, but as you guys do see here, the 7-2 I mentioned before in PvP could come into play.
Yeah, the downwards arrow is almost a bit much for him. I would have maybe given him the right arrow. I think it's the way he lost, maybe, and the fact that he's also not playing in like Code A or Code S right now, that gives him the down.
We need the downward diagonal arrow.
Yeah, we need that diagonal arrow for him. All right, guys, this could be the last game of the night if Creator is able to take it. Otherwise, if Classic wins, we're going to an ace match.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Down here in the bottom right in the red for SK Telecom T1, the Protoss player, he is Classic.
He is. And up here to the top left in the blue for Prime, it's Creator. Dyed his hair just before the start of round 4. Looking spiffy.
Keeping up to date with their dying rotations.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm very on point on this. I'm not like Monte Cristo rotations on the dying, but like I'm pretty good about it. So
take a look at those win ratios down there. It was 12-2 on this map for SKT, whereas it's 3-12 for Prime in this map.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think that also speaks volumes to just the success and or lack of success for these two teams. Well, I mean, he was taking care of her, you know. The AC is on in here, but sometimes it gets a bit hot.
It is a bit hot. I mean, on stage it's a bit hot for sure.
She's getting all hot and bothered by Prime's play. I think that's what it's about.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
Well, it looks like
we're
going to have a faster... No, actually, they're both going for 13 gates, it looks like. I thought we might see a faster gateway over here from Creator, but no.
Yeah, very standard openings for now. I mean, this map is pretty long. It is pretty hard to cheese people out on this map so long as you scout. It's hard to do aggression for sure. The way the map layout is.
Yeah, so unless you proxy gate against state.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, they're gonna do that against every foreigner. That's like the initiation period. It's like the first game you play, you're always gonna get cheesed.
Yeah. So
it's like the hazing ritual to get into a fraternity or something. Like,
exactly.
You got to get cheese gated first, and then you can play with the big boys.
Yep.
Something like that. Well, let's see what these two players have in store. As the cores haven't even started yet, it was going to be a little bit of time. To ask you a question on a completely unrelated note while we wait for this to happen, because in the Overgrowth map, we didn't really get to see a long game there. Do you think the map is really Zerg favored right now? Why are so many Zergs picking that map?
I definitely think it's a good map for Zerg for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't call it Zerg favored, but the layout is pretty good to get a third base and to defend it, and the fourth isn't in a too bad a position. So yeah, I definitely say it's a good map for Zerg. I always enjoy playing on it for sure.
Okay. Would you say it's the best map in the pool for Zerg right now, or do you seem to like Frost?
I like Frost, but I wouldn't say Frost is the best map. I'd probably go with King Sejong for Zerg, actually. I think it's a great map for Zerg. And we do see a lot of Zergs on it.
Well, thank you for your opinion on that. I'm glad to hear it.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you're on board with us now.
Yeah.
Top GM, Korean server, Zerg player commentating with us, giving us all those insights.
Yeah, well, it's an honor to be part of Team Salmon.
Yeah, welcome to the team. Now, if you guys want to be part of Team Salmon, all you have to do is take a picture of yourself wearing Team Salmon gear and tweet it at us with the hashtag Team Salmon. That's how you join the team.
Yeah. It's really easy.
Yeah, it's actually really quite simple.
Just take that picture,
yeah.
Send it to us.
You can have it. Well, you can wear your Team Salmon gear while you're watching Pro League or not. You can do it while you're at the beach or you're at bowling or something, I don't care. Just hashtag Team Salmon. Now look at this. We have Twilight counters for both players, but with this probe over here, looking likely that we're going to see Dark Templar from Classic. I think he's going to hide the Dark Shrine.
You know, right? I absolutely think you're right. And we see 2 really early gateways from him too. So
we got the 2 early gateways. He's adding a 3rd one now. And you know what? I don't know if we're going to see that DT. With that probe, he might just be there for a forward pylon.
Yeah, maybe just
with that 3rd gateway up there.
Hiding it really well. And he is making a lot of stalkers from these gateways.
If you look at Creator's build as well, the 2nd gate is a little bit later, but besides that is basically the same. The blink is very, very lined up here. And we could actually see stalkers go into each other's bases and maybe even a base trade.
Yeah, if this like goes continually unscouted as it's looking like it is right now, that could certainly happen. Both players seeing now no expansion. Robo goes down here for Creator, of course, because he's the safety guy, and back at home, so does Classic. So this is going to be a funny game. Blink versus Blink always ends up being one of the crazier PvPs, and it can oftentimes lead to a really, really late game when neither player kills the other. Let's see. Very safe play, actually, out of Classic, almost like he's expecting Stargate play. He's got all of his units in the mineral line, same of Creator there. And I don't think either of them are going to attack each other, honestly.
Wow. Both
funny as it is.
Yeah, both of them going for that forward pylon, but I don't know. I guess they both felt that Oracle coming in, and they were just like, well, no, just wanted to play safe, get the robotics up, and...
when you don't have an early Mothership Core Scout and you don't have sentries for an early hallucination, you don't know what's going on, it's hard to commit to an attack like that. It feels too risky. They both have their bays now, or their facilities, and we have an Observer for both. Double Observer queued up for Creator, because he knows since he's Creator Prime, he's likely to lose one.
Very good point. And we see an expansion from Creator, so he's going to be playing the defensive. I'm sure he'll add some Immortals at some point too, and we'll go into a very standard, looks like 2 base, Blink Stalker Immortal, sort of into Colossus later into late game, as this map is kind of known for. I mean, it is such a defensive map, very long map, and yeah, both players playing to that strength.
Yeah, for sure.
Classic going for the first Immortal, but based on how this game has been going, I would expect a Creator to start his first one too pretty soon here if he wants to keep it.
Yeah, he's just supply blocked, it looks like, for a little bit longer for Immortals.
Yeah, there it is.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, he wants to get that ASAP. And
just spending a little bit of little extra Chrono Boost on those probes, actually. He's up 4 right now.
Yeah, and he's also got his Nexus up just slightly faster too. So that's part of where those minerals went, the pylon delay. All right, both these Stalkers have Blink, so he can't get too close. I don't think he'll be able to get that one. He shouldn't be able to if Creator blinks the right angle. Oh, that was close. The Observer has vision, so he's going to continue to chase until he believes it's not safe to do so. Yeah, he can't quite get it, but he damages it, which is something.
Yeah.
It's something. And we see an Observer scouting the natural. He's got to be very careful, though. There is a Prime Observer nearby.
Creator gets his Forge up first. He's going to start that +1 here, whereas Classic is right now just starting his Forge. So that could come into play, maybe not at +1, but maybe +2 later on, especially if he identifies the fact that the Forge is a little bit later, but he'll have to do that first, unless he just attacks right at +2 and assumes.
Sometimes when you click on some of these units, you can see that you're up in upgrades, but you don't really know how long that's going to last oftentimes.
Oh, we might see a blink into the main.
Yeah, definitely.
Creator.
He comes in here.
Oh.
And Creator's got to pull these probes away right away. He actually doesn't lose any of them, and the OBS goes down for Classic, so not the best trade for him. I mean, he does get a Stalker there, but not, I think, as successful as he would have liked. Solid defense there by Creator, and with the Observer killed, he knows he's safe for now.
Definitely did a lot of economic damage, making all those probes pull away for quite an amount of time. I think it was totally worth the Observer.
Yeah, I think so too. And consider that even though he lost the Observer, like I said, so it's hard to blink in, he can use hallucinations to come back. There's always that threat there.
Absolutely.
Charge gets started first for Classic, and it's just looking like it's going to be one of those PvPs, guys, where the game... It's so hard because the Defender's Advantage in Protoss versus Protoss is so strong because every Protoss unit is basically good against every Protoss unit, so if you're defending, you're going to have a good time. Like, Stalkers are good against Stalkers. Zealots are good against Stalkers if they can close the gap on them. So, like, if you're the one who's defending and you have the better angle defensively and you have more warpens, you're always going to win the fight unless there's some sort of other advantage. So usually it ends up going to maxed out. It's so hard to attack into somebody who's going to have more Immortals than you because they're reinforcing closely.
Creator kills his own rocks at the natural, where Classic is right now about to attack. I think Classic was coming over here to maybe open up those rocks, but
Yeah.
he's going to find them open already.
Probably
It's
waiting.
pretty funny.
Yeah, this is kind of wonky. Mothership core there too. Looks like he might have been trying to maybe snipe the Nexus and get out or something.
Yeah, like snipe the Nexus and recall maybe,
Yeah.
something like that.
But no, Creator scouted luckily with that probe, and
It looked like Creator tried to hide some of his immortals, by the way. It looked like he was like running those up to the
that
corner.
was actually kind of risky. Like scouting with 2 immortals alone. Like maybe he thought it was like his observer hotkey or something, and like moved all those immortals away.
Oh
because-
yeah, maybe. Or it's possible though that this is just a theory crafting, as I'm off to do. Maybe he was trying to keep like Classic thinking like, oh wow, he barely has any immortals. Maybe I should attack here. Then suddenly 3
Maybe.
more immortals show up, and he's like, oh god, I guess he does have more immortals.
And
Yeah.
at the time, he did have one more immortal. Creator did, so.
Yeah, it's a very good point. We see Archons being added into the mix now, and a third base going up for both players. So, very, very much a mirror match here.
But look at this.
Oh.
Creator keeps his Zealot over here, almost denies that third base, does delay it for a bit here.
Yeah, if he killed the probe, that would have been huge. So Bay is on the way here for Creator. We've seen him skip this a lot of the time, but looks like Classic is going to be delaying his while he gets Archons out, favoring that tech route a little bit more.
Looks like he doesn't want it at all. Looks like we might even see some aggression from him. Maybe a timing with the Archon Immortal, just straight up trying to deny that third base and crush him before there's too many Colossus out.
Yeah, that's definitely a distinct possibility here, as he is going to have those extra resources that Creator doesn't have that he spent into that Bay. And he knows the third base, the angle that he can go into to attack that is not so bad because Creator chose a different third base, actually, than the one that Classic took. And I think that's actually why he killed the rocks. Looking back at it, I think that's the reason why he's decided to kill those rocks. So he had this base that's a little bit unusual, but now easily accessible.
This is the tab I want to see, the units tab. We do have one more Archon for Classic, it looks like, but Creator has 12 more probes, which has, he has much better saturation at the third base. But I feel like Classic is doing this on purpose. Like we were talking about, he got that Templar Archives earlier on for those earlier Archons. He's not going for the Colossi, and I think he may go for an attack here soon.
Yeah, he's got a big lead in Army, about 16 up right now. And here's that move out. He's got a probe here to make the pylon as well. This is pretty scary. He's 6 Zealots up right now, and there's only 1 Colossus out. In fact, Creator, I think he's starting to realize what's going on. He starts another Immortal instead because he needs that reinforcing power ASAP. He can't wait for another Colossus.
It's going to be very based on the concave that they can be fought at. I mean, hiding behind that Nexus like that is definitely going to give the advantage to Creator. But
Let's see if the numbers for Classic can help nullify that.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Archon's actually getting set up here. He's trying to feed back that Mothership Core.
Mothership Core just floating away as fast as she possibly could. I saw that. High Templar trying to get that feedback down, but not able to.
Creator needs to make sure he gets his Zealots up in the front because some of them are stuck there in the back. Same could be said here, I guess, of Classic, but I like his position here. Immortal's at the front, starting to do damage, picks off a High Templar there, and forces the overcharge. Now he may try to take a different angle, and meanwhile he's going to drop 4 Zealots at least into the main base here, can warp in additional ones if he's got warp gates at home that are ready to warp.
And he does. He warps in 3 more. Creator's trying to warp in some of his own. He does have that cannon there, which is definitely helping. For the warp-ins, that Immortal Lady didn't help out here as well. Looks like it will come back and help out, but still a lot of warp-ins here for Classic right now. Starting to get the advantage here against his Zealots here.
Yeah, and here we go. Looks like we're going to have that engagement now. Here they go. Time Warp goes down for both players. I like the one for Classic a lot more, though. Immortal's at the back doing so much damage for Classic here, but so many of his Zealots are trapped as well.
Zealots are trapped, but honestly right now it's really, really even. It's hard to call right now. The Colossus doing a lot of damage to the Zealots of Classic, and the Zealots of Creator starting to do some damage. It's so close right now, I can't even tell.
Actually insane. He uses some hallucinated Archons there to help out. It looks like Creator may have enough here with reinforcing Zealots warping in right now. Starting to look like he's got it held. Prime fans are going nuts in the studio right now, and the chase is on. It looks like this may have been an ill-fated attack from the beginning. It was that defender's advantage, I'm glad you were talking about, that concave that he set up, and the Zealots that he had at the back. Classic just wasn't able to use those. The Zealots of Creator did a lot more. They buffered a lot more shots.
Absolutely, and this was really on a timer because there was no probes at the third base for Classic the whole time. So the further that went on, the longer it went on, the more and more ahead Creator got. And he defended the main well, he defended the third base well without taking any damage to the Nexus or the probes. And from here, he's just got a bigger death ball.
Yeah, it also looked like at the start of that fight that Creator had at least 2 more Immortals in that mix. I'm not sure how he even squeezed that out, especially with Colossi coming out at the same time. I'd love to see this replay, but he has a ton of Immortals right now, up to 9.
Yeah, he's really been using his Chrono Boost on his Robo very diligently. And, I mean, at this moment in time in this game, the only way Classic comes back is a huge mistake by Creator, or maybe he like snipes an Observer and gets like a bunch of kills with DTs or something. We've seen like some weird situations like that happen. But otherwise, Creator just gets ready to attack and kills him. Creator is a player who's notorious for losing games that he's ahead like this in, though, because he's so timid to attack. So, with no real hallucination scouts he can use, he only has 1 sentry. It's hard for him to actually identify exactly how ahead he is. And look at this big counterattack over here by Classic. He's going to try to hit that production and also this Nexus.
He's going to first focus on that Nexus while sending up a bunch of units after that 1 Colossi. There's even 1 Archon here for Creator left alone, but he's just going to snipe that Nexus and back off. Looks like he sent some units to the main base as well to try to get the Colossus.
Oh my god, he's going to get it, I think.
Oh,
barely
close.
not.
17 health.
1 hit away. And he tried to do a run into the third base as well to do some more economic damage, but gets away. But it looks like his core of the army, like all the Immortals and Archons, might be trapped.
Oh my god, huge time warp onto all those Archons, and the charge zealots out of Creator chase them down. That 1 in the back may as well go down as well.
Yeah,
and Creator's on the chase now.
This is a big problem for Classic. He's trying to use the high ground here to his advantage, but that Colossus at the back and also the flanking units coming from the left side look like they are going to close this game out. 50 supply lead right now for Creator. I think he knows all he needs to do is walk across and end it, and he really should because he lost his Nexus. He hasn't remade it. He's just going to take this army advantage and take it home. Few High Templar here trying to frantically become Archons, but I don't think Classic has enough time.
It doesn't look like it, man. There's so many Immortals in the back here. Even 1 Colossus, a second one coming in here to do way too much damage. Look at those supplies. Creator has done it here against Classic in the late game PvP.
Looking like it is all over. Creator bringing Prime to their 2nd win against SKT this season. And that's it, GG. Prime takes the win. We talked about how Creator and Marine King, if they took those 2 wins, we might go to an ace match, but with that win early on from Cassia, it's just a very quick 3-1 victory. Hard to believe, but here we are.
Very great play. Very nice defensive play from Creator. He knew what he had to do. He knew he just had to hold on and stick with that economic advantage. And yeah, he took the right fights, and he won it.
Incredible play out of all these Prime players here today. I can't believe they've done it once again against SK Telecom. This is such a huge loss for SKT to actually take right now, and it shows a lot about their mindset going to this as well. I feel like some of these games, they were very close. You have to hand a lot of this to Prime as well, but I don't know.
If you go back to the interview we had from the SKT coach where he was just like, oh, we are the best. We are going to win this league in first place. Like, there's no doubt about it. I wonder if maybe the players didn't take this matchup as seriously. Players like Classic are currently focusing on multiple leagues at once, having to worry about the GSL that he's got coming up, also having to worry about Pro League at the same time, whereas a player like Creator who's not currently playing the GSL doesn't have to worry about that at all. There's these other factors that come into this. So
I also hate to be the bad guy, but I don't know if playing Fantasy here in this game, in this matchup against Prime, really makes sense, because it's almost like they're playing him both times this week that they play. Okay, it makes sense when the rosters first come out here, but seeing his game during their first matchup and seeing it once again here against Marine King was just able to roll over him. He's definitely a huge weak link in their roster right now, and them playing Fantasy in this game here definitely hurt him.
Honestly, it almost feels like fan service at this point. Fantasy really is not ready to be playing in Pro League right now compared to some of these other players we've seen. In my opinion, I think there's so many other players that could have played.
They're not
here.
using Parting, or Sulky.
Yeah, where are they?
Two big names that they could be using instead of Fantasy right now.
I would almost even argue like Paralyze could be used here, or Bravo. Yeah. Fantasy just really hasn't proven himself. I don't want to start calling him like fan service fantasy, but until he starts to get the level the fans want, sometimes it feels that way, and it really hurts to lose like that. To lose a player who's so
It does.
He's such a fan favorite. He loses to Marine King, and that may have been what cost.